Okay, let's jump straight into this week's deep dive.
Thanks, do it.
Today, we're looking at something, well, super common, right? Happens all the time. Two strangers meeting, first time.
Yeah, and we're going to kind of peel back the layers on that interaction, see what's actually going on underneath.
Our source isn't like some heavy academic paper this time.
No, much more relatable.
Yeah.
It's just a written transcript, 20 minutes, beginner level English conversation. Pretty straightforward.
And the people involved, we've got Emily Johnson, she's 28, graphic designer from Chicago, and James Miller, 32, software developer, and, this is key, he just moved from Austin, Texas.
Right. New in town, that's always a big factor.
The scene is set at this place called Brew and Bean Coffee Shop. Cozy spot.
Yeah, bit busy. Typical morning rush, long line, that whole vibe.
So our mission here is basically to unpack this one specific chat, figure out how they, navigate meeting each other, what info gets shared, and maybe the subtle ways they, start to connect.
Yeah, and trying to pull out some insights, right? About communication, how people, how they get to know each other from absolute zero.
It's like a little case study in social skills, almost.
Pretty much a micro study, yeah.
So let's go through it, how it happened chronologically. Where do you even begin? You're standing next to a total stranger in line. What's the first step?
Often it's just the shared space, the environment.
Yeah.
So the transcript shows Emily kicks it off. Simple observation.
What does she say?
Something like, "Hi, this line is long today, huh?"
Classic opener. Can't go wrong with that.
Exactly. It's safe. It's obvious. They're both experiencing it. James replies, agrees. Something about everyone needing coffee first thing.
Establishes that tiny bit of common ground, like, okay, we're in this together.
Right. A shared moment. And from there, the natural next step is, well, who are we?
Names. Got to get the names out.
Yep. James goes first. "I'm James, by the way." Emily responds, "Nice to meet you, James. I'm Emily." And back again. "Nice to meet you, Emily." Simple, efficient, necessary.
Okay, name's done. What's the immediate next question? Especially in a coffee shop. Feels almost automatic.
It really does. "Do you come here often?" That's the one. It's the bridge, From the immediate situation, this line, right now, to something a bit more routine, more personal.
And that question immediately tells them something important.
Emily says, yeah, she's a regular. Likes the cozy vibe, apparently.
James?
First timer. And he explains why. Just moved to the area about a week ago.
Ah, okay. And that's the hook, isn't it?
Totally. Being new is a big deal. It immediately gives Emily something concrete to ask about, like, where from?
So he says Austin, Texas. Work brought him here. And crucially, he drops his job title. Software developer.
Right, so boom. In like, a minute, maybe two. Names, one's new, where he's from, job title.
That's pretty quick information exchange.
Foundational stuff. Gives you context, helps you sort of mentally place the person. And then Emily shares her side, too.
Keeps it balanced.
Yeah.
Graphic designer, small marketing company here in Chicago.
That back and forth is important. It feels, reciprocal. Then they nudge a bit deeper. Not just what they do, but how.
Their work setups.
Right.
Emily's part-time home, part-time office, calls it a good balance.
Which sounds pretty nice, actually. James, though, he's full-time remote.
Ah, the remote life.
Yeah, and he makes a little joke about coffee shops becoming his new office.
Which is relatable for a lot of people now. Gets a little chuckle, probably. Another small connection point, even though their situations are different.
And since they are in a coffee shop, waiting for coffee.
The obvious next topic.
Okay.
What are you drinking?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Emily's a latte fan, sometimes vanilla, sometimes caramel, James. Cold brew when it's hot, cappuccinos when it's cold.
Standard coffee preferences. But James adds a little comment about Emily's choice.
He does. Something like, sweet but strong. That's a good combo.
Okay, interesting. What's the effect of that?
Well, it's small, right? But it acknowledges her choice, gives it a positive spin, good combo, and maybe, just maybe, adds a playful layer. Like, is he just talking about the coffee? It's subtle, connecting over something simple.
All right, so they've covered the basics. Who they are, jobs, drinks. Where does the conversation usually go next to find out more about the person?
Hobbies, interests, what people do outside of work.
Okay, what comes up?
James mentions playing guitar and hiking on weekends. Emily shares that she does painting, yoga, and reads novels.
So moving from the external stuff, job, location, to more internal things, passions.
Right. And they don't just list them and move on. They add a bit of detail.
Like what?
Emily says she reads mostly fiction. And she's reading a specific book right now, The Night Circus. She even describes it a bit, calls it very magical and creative.
Ah, see, that specific title and description makes it much more concrete. It's not just I read.
Exactly. Makes her interest feel real. James seems interested, says he'll check it out. Then he shares his reading nonfiction tech blogs.
For work, probably.
Yeah, he says something like, keeps your skills sharp, right? But then adds he also reads detective novels, the kind that keep him up all night.
Huh. Okay. So again, finding those little shared human things, keeping skills sharp for work, getting lost in a good book, even across different genres.
Yeah, those little points of understanding. Then they loop back to hiking. James hiked in Texas, but he needs new spots here.
Perfect opportunity for Emily, the local.
Yep. She suggests Starved Rock State Park.
Oh, yeah. Good spot.
She adds the practical detail, too. A bit of a drive, but really beautiful and definitely worth it.
Giving a useful tip shows engagement. James sounds positive about it, maybe a weekend trip idea.
It's a concrete way to build rapport, offering that local knowledge based on a shared interest. It's helpful.
They also touch on just relaxing, how they unwind.
Right. Emily likes walking by the lake in the evening. Says it helps her clear her mind.
And James.
Music. Playing his guitar.
Clear my mind. That phrase stood out in the source material, right?
It did. It's a really common expression. Just means, relax, de-stress, stop worrying for a bit. Using language like that, even if simple, shows they're touching on slightly deeper stuff. Emotional states.
And the creative outlets pop up again. Guitar and painting.
Yeah. James says he plays mostly just for friends, maybe sometimes open mics.
And Emily encourages him. Like, you should do more. I'd come to watch.
That's actually pretty significant, that offer of support. I'd come watch. It's direct, positive reinforcement. Shows real interest.
Then Emily shares more about her painting. Turns out she has a little online shop. Started it last year.
Oh, cool. How does James react?
Calls it impressive. Says he'd love to see your work.
And Emily offers to share her Instagram, which is like a super low-pressure way to maybe connect later. Lets him follow up if he wants.
Yeah, it bridges the gap without being too forward. His positive reaction probably felt good, too, validating her effort.
And then, just as things are flowing, reality intrudes.
The coffee's ready.
Yep. Here's my coffee, finally. Mine, too. The reason they were talking in the first place brings the conversation to a natural end point.
Provides a smooth exit ramp. So, the usual pleasantries. It was nice talking to you, James.
Same here, Emily. Thanks for the warm welcome. Standard nice stuff.
But then Emily takes it one step further.
She does. Makes a specific offer based on what they talked about. If you ever want a coffee buddy or a hiking guide, just let me know.
Okay, that's moving beyond just nice chat. It's a concrete invitation tied to their shared interests.
Exactly. And James accepts. He uses another one of those key phrases from the source.
I'll take you up on that.
Right, which, as the source notes, just means, yes, I accept your offer. It's a clear signal he's interested in potentially connecting again.
No ambiguity there, then just simple goodbyes. Have a great day. You too.
And that's the 20 minutes. End scene.
Okay,
Yeah.
So let's unpack the unpacking. Looking back at this whole interaction, what are the big takeaways?
Well, you really see a kind of predictable yet effective path they follow.
Like a roadmap.
Yeah. Starts super broad with the shared environment, the wine. Then narrows to basic identity names, jobs, origins. Then opens up again into personal interests, coffee, hobbies, how they relax. And finally, it gestures towards the future, the offer, the acceptance.
It really shows how those seemingly small talk topics are actually crucial. They're the building blocks.
Absolutely. They help you quickly find common ground, assess, basic compatibility maybe, and create hooks for more conversation later.
And the specifics matter, don't they? It wasn't just, I like reading. It was the night circus. Not just hiking, but suggesting Starved Rock.
Totally. Those details make the other person and their interests feel much more real and memorable. It gives you something specific to latch onto.
Yeah, something concrete to ask about next time, maybe.
And you see that gradual increase in maybe vulnerability. Sharing reading habits is one thing. Mentioning an online shop or playing at open mics feels a bit more personal.
And how those moments were met with positive feedback. I'd come watch. Impressive. I'll take you up on that. That encourages people to keep sharing, right?
Definitely. Positive reinforcement is key to deepening any connection.
So for you listening, think about how this structure plays out in your own life. When you meet someone new, maybe trying to practice a language or just in any social setting.
Yeah, recognizing these stages, observation, identifiers, interests, future possibilities, it can make it feel less daunting. There's often an unspoken script people follow, consciously or not.
What parts of their exchange stood out most to you? How they move between topics? Did it seem natural? Does it give you any ideas for your own interactions?
Hmm. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah, and here's a final thought to leave you with. We live in an age of, super quick digital connections, profiles, quick messages, swipes, transactional stuff sometimes.
Hmm.
So, what is it about a simple face-to-face conversation like this one between Emily and James, just 20 minutes in a coffee line, that allows for such a surprising amount of, well, genuine information exchange, and maybe even the potential for a real connection to spark? Something about that direct in-person dynamic seems uniquely powerful, worth mulling over.